if we needed any proof that the Focus was a global car, it's that the shop manual tells me that I should use a suitable spanner to keep the shock itself from rotating. I couldn't find a spanner, so I just used a wrench. All right, so I've got the call. The cage is ready. So excited. Trip down? Typical January day, just garbage weather, just raining all the way down, raining all the way back. Of course, no trip to Cincinnati is complete without a stop at Jungle Jim's International Market, which I will say without reservation, even though they are never going to sponsor me. And just because it's so crazy there. It's several acres of every food that you recognize and lots of foods that you don't or maybe you've heard of. And like, where would I possibly get that? You know, you're watching some Top Chef thing and it's some weird ingredient. You're like, oh, what the hell is that? You can find it there, and it was decorated by a madman. No, it's wonderful. I love it. Anyway, yeah, lousy weather. On the way back, you know, it's Western Ohio, so there's no hills to block up the wind, so we were probably getting like 50-mile-an-hour cross drafts, and this is like my second round trip with the car. You know, I've not done towing in my lifetime. Like, I towed the ATV down to the repair place and back, you know, 5 miles each way. So this is like my second return trip, and the first time I've towed in bad weather, so I'm a little anxious about this. Driving back, all of a sudden I hear this thunk. I'm like, oh my god, I lost the car. Look up in the rearview mirror, the car is still right there, but in the distance there's this black square gently receding. It was so windy that it actually blew my tonneau cover right off the truck. Yeah. Not exactly an auspicious omen, I think. Now, I had been trying to just take a couple of clips of video randomly off the drive cam by hitting the emergency button. And what I didn't notice the first couple times is that it was giving me an error that the emergency storage was full. I'm like, how could it possibly be full? And then it started raining, and I kind of realized basically every time the windshield wipers went off while I was driving, it would trigger the emergency alert. Fun. But I made it back and started working on the car and started researching a new tonneau cover because it was a roll-up kind and I didn't really like it. You know, it's funny, I was not planning on doing a lot of weight reduction at this time simply because that's kind of not the priority, but I figure there's a couple places that I'm just not going to get to in the future. Anything that I can do later, I'm going to, like the rear seatbelt mounts that I cut out of the last one, that can wait in this one. But this is a place that I'm just not going to get to. So. Okay, and here we are with the cage. This is Adam Brock's excellent work, which Phil trusts to save his life, and I'm okay with that kind of endorsement. Unfortunately, I picked it up in the rain, drove it home in the rain, and wasn't able to get it in yesterday because I had social commitments. Yes, life goes on. And it's finally in, so there is a little bit of surface rust starting, so I'm going to get this painted with some rust-inhibiting paint, which will be good to not make this any worse. Traditionally, the inside of a rally car is painted in white or light gray, and I'm going to go with yellow because I still have this British racing green fantasy. And I mean, I guess it wouldn't be too terrible to have a car that's green on the outside and orange on the inside. That would make it like some kind of Ulster loyalist spying in Dublin back during the Troubles, which is kind of a deep cut for a reference. A lot of history there, but wow. Anyway, I have the heater going, and because it's 43 degrees, and it's 420. And I won't be able to get B-roll of that because it is now 421, switched as I was watching it. And here we go. I guess step one is going to mask everything that I don't want spray painted yellow or black. You do the front ones black because they're less likely to glare. It was kind of funny when I was towing this back, I didn't realize how close in certain lighting this orange is to the orange that U-Haul uses on their vehicles. I am more or less on the way to masking the Focus into becoming its own little spray booth, which is kind of hilarious. My garage is not insulated. And of course, to get the paint actually dry, I can't leave it the 34 or 37 it was when I walked in and started prepping for paint. So I've had the heater running, and it's cold enough outside that it's just struggling. Of course, the fun part is I want to maintain that temperature, so I don't want to actually, open the doors and windows, but by the same token, with the painting, I'm going to build up some fumes, and I've got that thing that is, a very hot element, and oh boy, it's just that, I'm running this warmer than I would for my own comfort, but yeah, I'm hoping that I don't catch paint fumes on fire. I think as much as I would love to get a second coat on the black, I think just from a strategic perspective, in terms of, I cleaned off some rust and want to keep it from coming back, I think I'm probably better off getting a coat on the rest of the cage and then coming back and hitting the black up a second time. While I'm waiting for paint to dry, I can start working on things exterior to the vehicle, which means getting it back up in the air. I've had more ups and downs than a typical trip in Pennsylvania or Colorado. Well, I get to do something new and interesting for a change. This is something that I had not worked on previously in any of the iterations of the car, is the rear brakes and rear suspension. Lots of fun stuff here. It turns out I picked up this kit with stainless steel lines, and I've got the front ones on the front calipers, and there are 4 cables left. And I picked up the box, and I'm like, why are there 4 cables? And it turns out that the correct answer is because there are actually 2 soft lines down here. There's a soft line coming from the frame to the suspension, and then there's a hard line, and then there's a soft line coming from that bit onto the rear caliper. So if I open up the brake line, that'll allow that to drain for a little bit. Get lucky here. Not too bad. It's going to have a clip on it. Ow. Ow. The nice thing about that thumb is I have another one. I don't have my right thumb, but I have my thumb. Come on. There we go. Nope, that didn't quite actually come out. Ah! Overconfident! There we go. That's better. Of course, the bit on the caliper is not the same size as the bit on the hardline end, and it's in an awkward spot, and there's a collar on it. Actually, maybe I don't have to. Just wiggle this on out. One pad. The other remains stuck to the rotor. Not the same size. That way they can not get screwed up. Well, that's scrap. Oh my god, that's in there. Oh. Holy crap. Back to the 11. So 3 of the 4 are the same size. And that 4th just had to be different. Thanks, Ford. I'd like to be releasing giant clods of dirt. Maybe I should put the very important braking system component over there. It's the littlest things that stymie me sometimes. Stupid ass clips. And because the brakes were boring and frustrating, I decided to switch to something else, namely the rear suspension. Are you fucking kidding? Really? Go from one extension that's too short. Well, I mean, no extension is too short. That extension bumps up against the suitable span. And the entire strut is itself rotating, so looks like this might be the perfect time for a rubber strap wrench, which I guess I need to get out of the package. Black strap, you know what that's for. Guess I may as well get the other side as long as I'm back here with the right tools and right size. Yeah, this side is going to be just as awkward as the other side. and that other side, that right side, was so much worse than the first side. I don't know if that's because the nut was on a little tighter, or if I just feel like I wasn't getting as good a grip with the strap wrench. Like, it's never going to be as tight as it was that first time. I've heard that can be a problem. Well, at least the car is back, and I've started working on it. Obviously, there's a long road between here and Rally Ready, but the cage is the biggest hurdle, and after that, it's just strapping parts on until I have enough to actually have a running car and a legal car. My goal at this point was to have the car ready for SOFR, actually. My goal the previous year was to have the car ready for SOFR, and obviously I failed that badly. But I had it ready for SOFR. It's not much of a spoiler alert to let you know that when I've already made the video, but made it to that. And in fact, I will be ready for Overmountain, which is coming out, happening less than 2 weeks actually from the date this video is published. So this was published on September 1st, and Overmountain is the 14th and the 15th. So I get to get the car ready and get it down there. In either case, we'll be down there, so come by, say hi to Phil and I, and press on. Driving like mad in between. In the meantime, what the fuck was I supposed to say next? Shit, I should have a better plan for that.